With the rework for charms, suddenly doing Bestiary has become important again, and I want to share some tips that got me the first place on Bestiary back in the day. This is not a guide for rapid respawn events, rather it's for general tips, because to start off with the first tip right away, don't focus solely on rapid respawn weekends. Don't get me wrong, they are a great way to be efficient with charming, but you can also fall into two common traps. One, you feel forced to grind hard during these weekends, and then get burned out or simply get mad because you can't do it that weekend. Secondly, you end up doing charms that could be done off rapid. The first way to go about this is a feature that some might not even be aware of, which is the boosted cities. About every other day, a random city will be boosted. During that day, all the creatures on that area will respawn quicker. It is slower than a rapid respawn, but it tends to be enough for charming. A lot of spawns that are small become viable with this, making it easy to do Bestiary there. The second part of doing charms that can be done off rapid is that there is a lot of spawns that are big enough even without a quicker respawn, that can be hunted for charming just fine. And even though it tends to be more time efficient to do them during an event, you could be doing others that are more beneficial or unique to rapid respawns. For example, spawns that are too busy during a normal day, you could go during a rapid, because chances are it will be empty or at least part of it. There is also small spawns or creatures with low density that are better off during a rapid, where you can just focus on them back and forth. Another way to go about it is if the spawn is decent XP or profit, because if it is, then you have another benefit of doing it off rapid, since you will be getting something else besides the Bestiary. Next tip goes in hand with all of this, and is to drop the green stamina mindset. A lot of players are trapped in the green stamina mental block, and a lot of them, just by thinking that you could be doing something else that gives more experience instead of wasting it on lower level creatures while on green stamina, is enough to stop them from doing so, even if they end up not doing the XP hunt either. Be aware, every 24 hours you can hunt up to 3 hours and a half and still be full green stamina the next day, as long as you play at the same time. And I can assure you, most people don't do that level of efficiency with their stamina. So it's okay to do something less productive XP wise, because you're also going to get something in return. For example, as I said before, hunting spawns when a city gets boosted. Another one that is quite simple but very bad for your stamina or praise is whenever you're going to your actual hunts, kill the creatures on the way in and out. Almost every spawn in the game will have some easy creatures to do this way. A good example I can think of is chickens. This is mainly a rapid spawn exclusive, but if you're hunting Ingle, you can finish it naturally by killing the ones in the entrance and even firebombing for a few extras. But this can be seen in a lot of spawns. As long as it's not a creature that takes time to kill, then it's gonna be worth doing. Additionally, you can create labs that are easily repeatable every day. For example, if you map out the spawning points in Porthole for pandas and terror bits, you can do a quick run through it, taking less than 5 minutes and slowly making progress on that. This can be done in so many places in Tibia that will result in more charms over time. Another tip that goes hand to hand with this is to hunt the boosted creatures. This also applies the same logic as before. Usually most of the creatures that get boosted will respawn quick enough to be good for charming. It will be slightly faster than a city boost, but slower than a rapid. But besides the respawn rate, they also get their XP and loot boosted, making some of them quite good for hunting, even if they are bad any other day. For example, recently Furies got boosted and I didn't have that charm. Doing them in Oramon ended up being good XP and very high profit for me, so it didn't feel like a wasted hunt at all. Another thing about this that some might not know about is of dynamic respawns. The majority of mid and high level spawns with multiple creatures on it have this system, which is that each spawning point will have a chance to trigger the respawn of a different creature. Most of the times, the odds are more biased towards one in particular, but it doesn't matter if there is a 90% chance of a Dark Torturer, Destroyer or Grim spawning in the Oramon Catacombs. If Juggernauts have a 10% chance and they are the boosted creature, then that respawn point will get the faster respawn rate applied to all of them. This is a bit of a drastic example because it's not like the entire catacombs will be busted off Juggernauts, since the respawn points are limited. But using the same example, if one of the high density creatures like DT or Destroyers is boosted, then it will likely end up boosting the entire respawn. Another example to highlight this is the Warzone 9. This one has 3 creatures, but all of them share the same spawning points with different odds. And if any of them gets boosted, then all 3 creatures end up respawning quicker. There is way too many spawns where this applies, so be mindful about that when you see a boosted creature. Next up is to be more strategic on your plans. When thinking about what creatures to charm, you want to prioritize unique creatures. The most efficient and easy to complete tend to be creatures that you can only find in one spawn, because otherwise, if you go to spawns where a creature can be found in multiple other ones, You might end up getting kills or progress in that one and later end up doing it again when charming a different creature and going over the amount needed. This can also go the other way around. If you are smarter about it, you can finish one creature while going through multiple spawns. For example, Elder Worms. You can charm the Oramon raid and get progress on it while doing the other charms, then do Warzone 4 while working on champs and spawns and drill worms, and then finish it up in Drefia after having some progress already. Also, another form of a strategy is when spawns have multiple creatures and one of them is more rare than the others in terms of density. The best way to go about it is to identify where these respawn and make a lap around that. That way you focus the kills on the one you will need the most while getting the others passively. For example, when charming Banuda Ape, focus on the Merklings and by the time you finish them, the others will be completed too. Another one is on Kralos to focus on the Ogre Shamans. The list goes on once you start to identify the creature with less density. Another tip, quite similar, is instead of unique creatures, is to go for unique spawns. Things that are locked behind world events or quests fit this category. A rare one to do is to get Strandal into the Arctic Faun's Island the day before Rapid and log out there. Others will be the Poacher's Cave, Fury Gate, the Hive and Deeplings, and so on. Since they tend to be random and usually not available, then you can get the most out of them with a rapid respawn event. Next up is to use firebombs for trivial creatures. This is a basic one that all you will need to do is find out where the spawning point of the creature is, and then throw a firebomb on top of it. This is mostly a rapid respawn event exclusive, and it works best with trivial creatures, but even monsters with more HP are okay to firebomb too, especially if you're lacking in damage. You can lower them with a bomb and then pass by with a GFB after, or in some cases you can stay in their screen, and when they respawn and get hit, then will aggro you and follow a path of fire towards you. Another one that I find the most important personally is to set a kill per minute that you are satisfied with, and then proceed to do 10 minutes tests in spawns to see if it is worth to stay or not. My personal one is of 10 kills per minute on medium creatures where I am at least getting to. So 1000 kills will take me 1 hour and 40 minutes for 50 points. This applies for hard creatures too, but both of them I tend to get more kills per minute than that. And this is a minimum amount I set for myself or else I won't bother with that charm. Keep in mind this also relies on the amount of charm points you already have. I'm at over 14,000, so my options are more limited, especially easy and trivial are almost all done. So depending on your current charm points, the kill per minutes you can achieve should be far more efficient. Lastly, one that should be simple enough but most people don't do, is to hunt different spawns. Especially under lower levels is the best time to do so. Ideally you want to try out plenty of spawns as you level, because at least until 300 or 400 the difference of experience between them is not as high, so charming one spawn and then moving to a new one is quite beneficial for charming. Take for example my Batera blocks. If you seen the series, we did a lot of spawns until charms and then we'll move to the next, with some XP drops sometimes and others we will gain some. Not only it keeps the game fresh and more entertaining, but it's also going to help you play better, because adapting to different spawns usually comes with different things to deal with that otherwise you might not encounter at all, especially if you stick to one spawn for hundreds of levels. This can be applied for both solos and team hunts, although it's more efficient with a team. However, solos get to choose on their own and can move spawns easily. With that said, if you're interested on team hunting spots, check out my playlist. That's all I got for this video. If you have any other tips for Bestiary, please share them down below in the comments. Additionally, consider joining my Discord community server. Hopefully it turns into a source of more discussions and tips like this. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to the supporters of the channel, the Guild Causality of Quidera, Nice Star, and Tuna Hero.